Hello and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. I am Upili Kaisa. In this edition, we zero in on the plight of some social media users.
I realized that I was receiving more friend requests from boys and men I did not know. They were flooding my inbox with messages. 3/4 of those messages were the ones from men who were asking me out.
In the arts, we meet a Lilongwe-based young man who has committed his talent to address mental health issues through spoken word.
Usually, all artists, more especially poets, are the same. Largely, generally, we are the same in terms of our imaginations, because our works are born out from imaginations. But then despite that, we differ in our perspectives, the way we see the world.
Thanks for joining us, and once again, welcome. The social media age has completely revolutionized the way we communicate with one another. For many, social media networks are the primary means of communication with their loved ones and an opportunity to connect with old friends. But what does it take to befriend strangers? Bernard Kankono gives a glimpse of that situation in this story.
This is a story of a 15-year-old girl, a Form 2 student at one of the secondary schools in Blantyre, who almost lost her school fees to scammers and later on was an inch away from being hooked up with a sugar daddy via an agent on social media. Her name is Anna, not her real name to protect her identity. Anna explains that her interest to join social media platforms were driven by her pleasure-seeking energy. She was compelled to get a share of Abengo comic stories, which were commonly shared on various social platforms. It was until she joined one of the social media networks when she realized that social media was far more than what she thought.
I joined social media networks at the beginning of this year. When I had just joined social media for the first time, I used to get the Abengo stories I had anticipated to get. With passage of time, I realized that I was receiving more friend requests from boys and men I did not know. They were flooding my inbox with messages. 3/4 of those messages were the ones from men who were asking me out. They would even go further, asking me to share my contact number with them so that they would make calls to me. With that pressure, I was forced to deactivate my first social media account so that I could be at peace.
In Malawi, social media usage is a huge part of everyday life among thousands of teenagers in every corner of urban settings. Unfortunately, the rise of social media usage among teens has been associated with a more pressing and dangerous environment. In many cases, the dark side of social media falls on the extreme end of cyberbullying, sexual exploitation, and fraud. Unlike Anna's story, Bright Mpizi, a 21-year-old upcoming hip-hop artist, commonly known as M-Zible, in music circles, shares a lighter story about social media. Zibre, who has a Facebook account with over 4,000 followers and a Facebook page of about 3,000 friends, describes the new media as an excellent platform to market his music.
When it comes to social media, I can say that it is much helping us as an artist because we are able to split our music, we are able to get the feedback from our fans, and we are able to deliver some content which are helping our fans so that they can get what we are doing, what we are cooking in the studio. So far, my page, when it comes to marketing, I just used to post my videos, my freestyles. I like freestyling, you know, so I just like freestyling, then I post the video so that people should have fun, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's it. That's how I market it. So when it comes to people to follow me, right now I'm just using like the basic ways, just inviting the flames, just to invite so that they can follow, so that they can like the page. And I'm also, yeah, I also get involved with my fans, like just making a post that you should invite other fellas to come in the page, to like it, to follow the content. Yeah, so that's it.
Reports from Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, MACRA, indicate that the country loses approximately 120 million kwacha monthly to mobile fraud. Part of such fraudulent activities originates from social media communications and networking. In many cases, many people fail to recognize online fraud activities. In rare occasions, though, some social media users have been lucky enough to recognize digital fraudsters, as Arthur Kondesi, a Kanjeza Forest resident, narrates.
A new friend request pop up, then I see who is this person. I see the name. The second, I see the mutual friend. Then I check the new friends. If it's a new number, I mean the new name, I search who is this person. So, new friends tell me this is a lady friend or not. So, I accept the person according to the mutual friends and the TP. Yeah, and the what does the person does. Most of the time, if that person does not have a mutual friend, I check what does he do about it. So if it is awkward, I don't accept it.
With the internet at the center of daily life, it's inevitable that there are many types of fraud that go along with it. According to police reports, many cases of online fraud are reported yearly, with thousands others getting away unreported. The rate at which Malawians continue to be duped through fraud is overwhelming. According to Blantyre Police published Peter Nchiza, such cases could have been prevented by users through online behavior change.
As police, what we are doing at the moment is that we are trying our best to sensitize the people, to tell the people that they should not believe anybody on social media. Probably even on Facebook, if somebody sends them a friend request, they should first of all find out if maybe they know him. If they don't know him, they should just disregard that friend request. Or if somebody sends on social media, upload something for sale on social media, they should first of all try as much as possible to verify the reality of that. If they find out that it's not real, then they should not even do that business. Or else they should just find out, they should just get a contact person of the one who is offering it for sale. They should talk to him, and thereafter they say, okay, I'm coming there, I'll meet you maybe tomorrow, I'll meet you maybe this afternoon or next week. They should meet first of all, they should see the thing. On top of that, as police, we normally encourage that people, when they want to buy something, they should buy it from the shops. They should buy it from the those people who are registered, who are having the shops for selling such particular material.
Over 4 million people in Malawi have access to internet, with more than 800,000 users being on social media. The figures are expected to go up following the introduction of cheaper internet bundles.
Memories are still vivid of the devastation tropical storms Gombe and Anna caused in the country. What was the experience of living in camps? What abuses did women, girls and the youth face? Voices are now coming out, and in this story, McDonald Chiwayula gets to understand pre- and post-floods challenges as narrated by survivors in Chikwawa.
On the night of 24 January 2022, what started as normal rains in Selena village, traditional authority Masea in Chikwawa, ended up being a catastrophe. The magnitude of the devastation cannot be overemphasized. Records indicate that over 21,000 households or over 995,000 people were affected across 19 districts. 46 people died and 206 people were injured, while 18 people were reportedly missing. This led to the country's leader, President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, declaring a state of national disaster on 26 January 2022. In this tragedy, 148-year-old Irene Campbell of Selena Village, a mother of 5, was also not spared from the devastation. She points out that this was the spot where her house stood before it was swept clean by the raging floods induced by Tropical Storm Anna, leaving her destitute.
Zovuta ndi zambiri zimene timazipeza pakampo panakasiku malo koti tinafika koti chakudya tinalibe.
We faced many challenges at the camp because we arrived with literally nothing and life was miserable. I recall a well-wisher by the name of Mrs. Chavula gave me clothes and a few kitchen utensils during my early days at the camp.
Kena kwanandi pasasa ujeni mbale ndi ujeni poromozi ndi makapu.
Having no choice, Campbell and her 3 children found themselves at a makeshift camp where life was miserable. She says that food, potable water and proper beddings were lacking. She narrates that even when camps were disbanded, her post-flood life has not improved. She says she needs a proper structure to go home, but she has nothing to start from and alleges that some authorities were diverting relief items to villages that do not bear the brunt of the disaster.
Vuto la kusefukira kwa madziku sikuti tinganene kuti panopa kuti latha likadalipobe ngakhale tabwerera tili mmakomo ndi zambiri zimene tikukumana nazo.
I appeal to well-wishers that they should continue visiting us and supporting us to pass through this difficult period in our lives. The challenges we faced due to the floods are not over. Though we have returned to our respective villages, we do not have proper housing. We lack food, beddings, and clothes. Let me thank organizations like Christian Aid, Malawi Red Cross Society, and SICOD for coming to our rescue when floods hit. Let me register my concern to the council office. It pretty much knows who was affected by floods, but currently it is disturbing to hear that the other people who are not flood survivors are receiving relief items. Till today, when we are languishing in poverty, this is not fair.
Not only Campbell and fellow women faced challenges at the camps, but also the youths.
Some of the abuses we faced included being denied the right to sleep in the evacuation center, and some people were receiving money from relatives or fellow flood survivors so they give them good space for sleeping. I also recall that at times we could sleep on an empty belly where others were eating at the camp. They said we came late and we should wait to receive our portion. Girls were more vulnerable in this context because some men were sleeping with them in exchange for food and protection. Maria Riva also narrates her experiences at the camp and post-camp life. Riva says government should bail them out from the pressing daily needs such as food and shelter. She says she was forced to occupy this tent, which does not even have ventilators and makes her life uncomfortable.
I would
like to thank Habitat for Humanity for providing us with the tents. However, these tents are too small for a family and they are not well ventilated, which poses a great health risk. Because these tents are too small and hot, most times we sleep outside, which is also risky.
After undergoing such challenges in the camps, Campbell says government and people of goodwill should consider coming up with measures that will mitigate the impact of Tropical Storm Anna and Igombe, whose post-effects are still being felt today. Campbell once again.
Atafika mabungu ya kufuna kwa bwino kukhazikisa magulu
We call upon the government and non-governmental organizations to come and impart income-generating skills to women in this area. When the women are well-trained, please provide us with grants so that we should set up businesses for our survival. You should realize that here there are many women who are single parents, and the responsibility is huge against the background of the floods that affected us. Hence, the request for consideration.
MBC sought to hear from Chikwawa District Social Welfare Officer Aaron Macheka on how the council resolved or is resolving complaints from flood survivors in the district.
When the partners are coming in, I think the responsible officer from disaster office was allocating these food items, whether kitchen utensils, to different areas where these people were affected. One challenge which had affected us most was that when we had received heavy rains, we were disconnected. Our roads were cut, and Chikwawa was like an island. We couldn't pass through getting to Nchalo. We couldn't even pass through getting to Chapananga area. We were just like an island. So that had caused a problem where I think when we wanted to distribute food further to Nchalo, as far as in Kabwa and some other areas, we should admit as a council to say that I think this shelter or these tents were in small quantity, as well as, when they were given, others had complained, yes, that they are just having, one window, perhaps very small and very hot, looking at the, weather that we are having here in Lower Shire. In disaster-prone kind of, response, what we always believe is to say that whenever people are recovering from the, disasters, they need also to be so vigilant enough to stand up again when they have fallen, so that I think they seem to be resilient. So this time around, what was happening was that the understanding was to provide the tents and tarpaulins so that I think they can stay there in these particular tents for some time, so that I think just a few months, or let's say 2-3 months, and then they should construct whatever small structure they can come up with so that they can get accommodated. So we should really, the tents are providing, not good conducive environment, they're not habitable, but then the thinking was that when they get into these particular tents, they will not stay longer.
For now, Tropical Storm Anna and Gombe are long gone, but the post-flood scars and bruises live on in the hearts of flood survivors. McDonald Chiwayula for Beyond the Headlines, Chikwawa.
In the arts, we meet a 23-year-old Lilongwe-based young man who has embarked on a project to preach about mental wellness through twists and turns of verses and rhyming of the spoken word.
We'll start with a poem titled Smile for the Day. This poem largely encourages the need to face the day in a positive way. It encourages the element of being positive in whatever we do, really. Yeah. Smile for the day. The morning dews are for you. Hug them without agitating, for a bitter embrace will spoil your solemn view. The fresh sun isn't an alarm for a somber dawning, but a sign of what should be new. It isn't about what might break you as you go, but it's about the seed you choose to sow. So tell me, pal, on which shoulder are you going to rest? On the one with feathers for unbounded smiles, or you will lay and wait for bounding miseries? Loosen up that smile at the sight of the day, for troubles were not born to stay.
In 2013, Andrew Nyirenda, a young man based in Lilongwe, took himself through a voyage of discovery to find out who he was. And as the saying goes, every man should have an occupation. So did Andrew had to get one. When he was 13 years old, Andrew learned that he was good at putting down poetic and musical verses.
I write poems from a variety of ideas, and such poems are usually born from experience, emotions, observations, and ideas, but largely all these poems, the poems I write, are purposed to construct and I purpose to honor the Lord, because I believe that art should be used in a way which will honor the Lord. So as much as I write poems from a variety of ideas, from a variety of themes, but then all these themes are rooted to construct. So I write poems to teach, to inspire, to motivate, whether it is a poem about hope, about faith, about restoration, about glit, about greedy. All these poems, they are crafted in a way which will construct and help the reader in a positive way. So largely my poems are constructive in nature. As much as art can be exciting, as much as art is exciting and engaging, but above all, I embed a constructive element in my art. So generally, I write about mental health, I write about hope, I write about faith, I write about restoration, I write about survival, I write about hard work, that is diligence, I write about God's love, and other themes which are rooted to construct.
It was until 2016 when Andrew decided to spring a relevant direction of his contemporary art, and that's when he found himself scribbling about society wellness. In his recently crafted anthology titled The Sleeping Melodies, Andrew inspires the society to live godly and end challenges the society is facing, like mental health issues.
Actually, me coming up with this anthology was a result of a long-term inspiration, really, and which is a part of my values and my principles, and a part of the way I've structured myself as an artist. As I said earlier, I've always believed in using art since 2016, that is, when I fully discovered the relevant direction of my art. I believed that art is God-given. Why is art God-given? Because art comes from talent, and talent is God-given. So art is God-given itself. So I believe that if I am to use my art in any way, then I should use my art in a way which will do nothing but honor the Lord, which will do nothing but help a fellow human being, which will do nothing but help me as well. So what inspired me to come up with this anthology is the need to finally come up with something artistic which would help to honor the Lord by carrying and conveying different ideas which reflects facets or elements of reality. So that's what anchored the instigation of this anthology. This anthology carries 26 poems, both long and short, but with a similar purpose. As much as they are different in their ideas and the way they are narrated and the way they are crafted, but they are all purposed to teach, educate, and inspire, and construct, and most importantly, honor the Lord. And coming up with this title was easy and not so easy, because I had to ensure that the title reflects all the poems in the anthology, that is. So I had to think of something which is more worthy, something which is sufficient and specific as well. So The Sleepless Melodies, as the title itself really projects, the sleepless melodies. Melodies are more or less like lullabies, songs, really, those soothing songs, really. They are melodies. Sleepless, it means the act of not sleeping. So the title of this anthology means that these poems can speak to people at all times. It means anyone can be able to get the needed message from these poems anytime, whether in the morning, at night, in the afternoon, each time. Every time, these poems are there to speak to people. So basically and specifically, that's what it means. These poems are sleepless in nature. These poems are there to speak to all at all times, regardless of the time, really.
Andrew who one day hopes to be aligned amongst the greatest African poets like Chinua Achebe, is more than a wordsmith, but an agent of positive change.
Let's end this edition of Beyond the Headlines by appreciating Malawi's beauty in these breathtaking photographs seen through the lenses of one voyager, Mervis Maigwa.
The sun will rise from the east and set to the west on a beautiful African day. The beauty in the river as the water flows, and I can't do nothing but swim. It's amazing how nature falls in sync. I see the reason why he said it was good. Amazing creation. As the mother and daughter fetch water from the stream, they sing beautiful songs of peace and some ululation. The men gather under shades of beautiful trees, and peaceful reasoning is all I see. Africa, oh Africa, my motherland. Africa, oh Africa, this is where I come from. Africa, oh Africa, my motherland. Africa, oh Africa, this is where I come from. Oh Africa, I call you home. Oh Africa, I love you more. Oh Africa, natijikwa tuno. Oh Africa, God's power in creation is shown. I'm looking at the beautiful skies and the green on the hills.
Well, those beautiful photographs bring us to the end of this edition of Beyond the Headlines. Let us know what you think about any of our stories. Leave your comments on Malawi Broadcasting Corporation Facebook page. I am Mubide Gaisa. See you next week.